Our headlines for tonight. Philippine inflation rate slightly accelerates to 1.8% in December according to Philippine Statistics Authority. Palace denies rumor on impending 2026 cabinet rebump. Philippine Coast Guard to deploy personnel for Translation 2026. Department of Justice to start preliminary probe on new flood control case against Saldico. Good evening, bring the latest news for tonight. I am KRIZZA Lopez and this is your TV News Thread. The details on our broadcast. Inflation picked up slightly in December 2025 as higher food and utility prices pushed the rate to 1.8%, according to Philippine Statistics Authority. PSA Chief Claire Dennis Mapa assures that this will get back to normal after the holiday season. More from this report.
The country's inflation rate slightly accelerated to 1.8% in December 2025, up from 1.5% in November, according to the Philippine Statistics Authority or PSA. The PSA identified the past year increase in food and non-alcoholic beverages prices as the primary driver of inflation, amounting for 97.5% of the available acceleration. Notable price increases were recorded in rice, eggplant, fish, particularly milkfish, onions, and meat products. Higher cost of rent, electricity, and water supply also contributed to the inflation. In addition, prices in restaurants, cafes, and other accommodation services posted increases. According to PSA National Statistician and Civil Registrar General Undersecretary Claire Dennis Mapa, the uptick in inflation is seasonal, given largely by increased demand during the holiday season. He also noted that weather disturbances experienced in November contributed to the price movements in December.
Holiday effect, no? So, we hope that this is seasonal, temporary, and babalik naman yung presyo sa January. May effect din yung mga typhoons, of course, kasi kung naalala nyo yung buwan ng Nobyembre, may malalakas tayo na bagyo. And this most probably impacted also yung mga vegetable farms natin, kaya tumaas yung presyo, particularly sa labas ng National Capital Region.
The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas said inflation could be higher in 2026 due to base effect. Meanwhile, inflation in the National Capital Region slightly increased to 2.4% from 2.3% in November. The rise was mainly driven by higher electricity rates, increased prices of meat, particularly chicken, galunggong, and fruits, especially mangoes. Higher prices of diesel, gasoline, and sea transport fares also contributed. Outside the NCR, vegetable prices posted more noticeable increases due to recent typhoons. Alongside higher prices of rice and eggplant, Central Visayas recorded the highest inflation rate, while the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao or BARM posted the lowest. This is KRIZZA Lopez for Eurotv News.
Meanwhile, Malacanang is pushing back against online reports of an impending cabinet shake-up, saying there is still no confirmation of any major rebump early next year. Details on Mia Layagan's report.
The Malacanang Palace on Tuesday denied circulating news on a looming cabinet revamp early in 2026. In a press briefing, Palace Press Officer Undersecretary Claire Castro clarified that there are still no confirmation yet on whether there is an impending shake-up in the members of the President's cabinet. Based on some reports online, it claimed that President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. is preparing for the biggest cabinet shake-up under his administration, in which at least 9 officials are said to be affected. Amid this, Castro said that there is still no official information over the matter.
Wala pa po tayong natatanggap na anumang balita. Baka may nagpapakalat pero as of now wala po. Pero as of now, wala po tayo nababalitaan, wala pong ipinararating na magkakaroon po ng cabinet revamp.
It can be recalled that last May, Marcos directed the members of his cabinet to tender courtesy resignations to assess who should be retained in their positions based on their performance. The most recent cabinet shake-up was in November, with Marcos replacing his executive secretary as well as the heads of the Department of Finance and of Budget and Management Department. Meanwhile, Castro said that the monitoring and evaluation of the president on his cabinet members' performance remain ongoing, noting that this is a regular process under the Marcos administration. This is Mia Layagin for Eurotv News.
Moreover, President Marcos has vowed to strictly enforce the ban on politicians' involvement in the distribution of government financial assistance as he signs the 2026 General Appropriations Act yesterday. More from this report.
Alongside the signing of the 2026 General Appropriations Act on Monday, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. pledged to strictly prohibit the involvement of politicians in the distribution of financial assistance to Filipinos. The president said his administration will firmly enforce the ban on politicians' participation in any form in the delivery of government aid to the public.
We will strictly implement the provision on the prohibition of political involvement in the distribution of cash and other forms of financial assistance. Politicians shall be barred from the distribution of any financial aid, and we shall ensure that the support reaches the intended beneficiaries without patronage. Walang bawas, walang kulang.
Among the government's financial assistance programs are the assistance to individuals in crisis situation or AICS, tulong panghanap buhay sa ating disadvantaged or displaced workers or TUPAD, and the Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino Program or PORPIS, as well as cash grants and pensions for senior citizens and persons with disabilities or PWDs. The President also emphasized the increased allocation under the Local Government Support Fund, which aims to strengthen local government units in addressing basic needs, providing livelihood opportunities, and building safe and resilient communities.
Enabling them to address local development needs, support livelihoods, and create safe and resilient communities.
This is KRIZZA LOPEZ for Eurotv News.
Meanwhile, the Department of Interior and Local Government has welcomed the signing of the 2026 General Appropriations Act, calling it as a boost to local governance, public safety, and service delivery nationwide. More from Henry Nicolas.
The DILG with its attached agencies welcomes the signing of Republic Act No. 12314 or the General Appropriations Act for fiscal year 2026. The DILG said this is a testament to the government's commitment to transparency, good governance, and the responsible management of public funds. The enactment of the 2026 GAA, which includes the DILG's approved budget, reaffirms the government's commitment to strengthening local governance, public safety, and responsive service delivery for the Filipino people. It enables the department to further advance initiatives aimed at improving disaster preparedness and response, as well as sustaining peace and order across the country. The agency extends gratitude to President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. for recognizing the needs to strengthen the role of local government units through the increased allocations under the Local Government Support Fund. These enhanced resources will empower LGUs to address local development priorities, expand access to livelihoods, and build safer and more resilient communities. The DILG remains steadfast in ensuring the efficient, transparent, and accountable use of public funds. Meanwhile, the palace stated that individuals questioning the signed 2026 national budget, particularly the issue of unprogrammed appropriations, have the right to bring the matter to the Supreme Court.
Dumulog sa Korte Suprema at tanungin kung unconstitutional ang parte na to ng 2026 national budget. So, tignan naman po natin, of course, kapag po sila nagpahal ng petition, sasagot naman po ang administrasyon.
This comes after House Deputy Minority Leader Representative Edgar Erice announced that he would file a petition before the Supreme Court to challenge the legality of the UA. This is Henry Nicolas for Eurotv News.
The Department of Health has set aside 1 billion peso to expand zero balance billing in government-run hospitals as part of the largest health budget ever approved under the 2026 national budget. However, the DOH clarified that hospitals must still meet eligibility criteria, reporting requirements, and compliance obligations to qualify for assistance. More from Vanessa Cleofas.
Over 448 billion pesos budget of the Department of Health or DOH included in this year's General Appropriation Act or GAA, which was recently approved by President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. 1 billion pesos has been allocated to the Universal Healthcare Fund for the DOH Zero Balance Billing Program in local government unit or LGU hospitals covering inpatient services in basic accommodations. The fund will be used to support large hospitals operated by local government unit. However, the DOH clarified that hospitals must still meet eligibility criteria, reporting requirements and compliance obligation to qualify for assistance under the Agency for the Implementation of Zero Billing. The agency will also monitor the program's management in each hospitals to ensure continuous implementation and that all patients receive government-subsidized hospital care. The Zero Billing Fund will be directly released to LGU Hospital. The DOH also reminded the public that patients do not need nor should rely on guarantee letters from politicians to access zero billing services in hospitals. Meanwhile, during the signing ceremony of the 2026 GAA, President Ferdinand Marcos emphasized the importance of the large healthcare budget, which aims to improve Filipinos' access to affordable medical care, including universal health care. The 448 billion pesos allocated to the health sector in 2026 is also said to be the largest in Philippine history. It can be recalled that in 2025, following the President's Fourth State of the Nation Address or SONA, the implementation of a zero billing began in the first 80 hospitals across the country, serving over 1 million patients under the program. This is Vanessa Cleofas for Eurotv News.
The Philippine Coast Guard is set to deploy personnel for Traslacion 2026 reinforcing security and emergency response for one of the country's largest religious gatherings. Henry Nicolas returns.
The Philippine Coast Guard will deploy personnel for Traslacion 2026 to augment the AFP and PNP and the Manila City LGU in ensuring safety and security during one of the country's largest religious gatherings scheduled on January 9, 2026. Anchored on President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s whole-of-nation approach to public safety, Coast Guardians will be strategically positioned in key areas including Quirino Grandstand, Jones Bridge, Ayala Bridge, and Quiapo Church vicinity to support crowd management and emergency response operations. According to PCG spokesperson Captain Noemi Cayabyab, the Coast Guard deployment includes medical responders, K9 units, search and rescue teams, and specialized units such as Explosive Ordnance Disposal Forces, Special Operations Group, Civil Disturbance Management Teams, and Deployable Response Groups to ensure rapid response to any emergencies or maritime incidents. The PCG also calls on the public to remain vigilant and to cooperate with authorities in maintaining public order and safety throughout the event. This is Henry Nicolas for Eurotv News.
The government's anti-corruption drive continues into 2026 as the Department of Justice begins preliminary investigations into new flood control cases involving former lawmakers and public officials. Full details on Mia Leagin's report.
With the start of a new year, the government continues its campaign against corruption in 2026, with the Department of Justice kicking off preliminary investigations on 7 flood control-related cases. On Monday, DOJ started a probe on the new plunder case filed by the National Bureau of Investigation against former Ako Bicol Party List Representative Saldico. While DOJ refused to specify the projects involved, it mentioned that cause correspondents in the case are officials of the Department of Public Works and Highways. During the Monday proceedings, no counsel or representative from cause camp appeared nor commented on the matter. With this, the prosecution gave COA until January 15 to respond to the allegations. Cost New Plunder case is just one of the 7 cases DOJ is reviewing, with 2 cases involving Bulacan projects under Wawaw Construction and Top-Notch Catalyst Builders. Respondents on these separate complaints are former Senador Ramon Bong Revilla and Senator Joel Villanueva. DOJ earlier said that the cases being reviewed involve allegations of direct bribery, corruption of public officials, malversion through falsification, and violations of the Government Procurement Reform Act and of Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act. On Monday, Revilla, through his lawyer, submitted his counter-affidavit for the second flood control-related case after one involving SYMS Construction. In his counter, Revilla firmly denied the allegations they called as baseless and incompetent. The complaint rooted from the accusations of former DPWH Undersecretary Roberto Bernardo over Revilla receiving up to 25% kickback and commission from flood control projects. Villanueva meanwhile described the allegations as ridiculous, stemming from similar kickback accusations from Bulacan projects. Despite this description, Villanueva said that he respects due and legal process as he submitted counter-affidavit on the case from former Bulacan DPWH engineer Henry Alcantara's implication. In his counter, Villanueva once again denied the allegations, presenting witnesses to debunk Alcantara's implications. This is Mia Layagin for Eurotv News.
The Department of Health is urging Filipinos to adopt healthier eating habits as it warns against the growing risk of both undernutrition and overnutrition across all ages, all age group. Vanessa Cleophas returns with the details.
The Department of Health or DOH is now encouraging the public, especially parents of children, to adopt a balanced diet. The department highlighted the negative effects of undernutrition and overnutrition on individuals, which can lead to various types of diseases. Undernutrition, they said, can result in tinniness, stunt growth, and slow physical and mental development, particularly among children. Meanwhile, overnutrition can cause diabetes, high blood pressure, and heart disease. According to Health Secretary Ted Herbosa, the agency recommends the Pinggang Pinoy, which can be used as a guide for a balanced diet. Pinggang Pinoy shows properly balanced meals for children, teenagers, adults, senior citizen, and pregnant women to prevent malnutrition. This is Vanessa Cleophas for Eurotv News.
Motorcycle riders can now save on added cost as the Land Transportation Office removes the registration fee for top boxes and saddlebags, part of a move to ease the burden to those who rely on their bikes for work. Catherine Landicho with the report.
Land Transportation's Office or LTO removed registration fee from motorcycle top boxes and saddlebags. It is accordance with the directive of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. The Land Transportation's Office or LTO has removed the registration fee for custom-made top boxes and saddlebags installed on motorcycles. In line with the 7-point policy agenda of LTO Chief Assistant Secretary Marcos Lacanilao, aimed at easing the burden on riders who rely on motorcycle for their livelihood. The move follows the directive of President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. and Acting Transportation Secretary Giovanni Lopez to help improve the daily lives of motorcycle riders, especially those using their vehicles for work. Under a memorandum signed by Assistant Secretary Lacanilao, the LTO will no longer collect the 100 pesos registration fee for every top box or saddlebag attached to motorcycles. He added that the policy is aligned with the LTO's 7-point policy agenda, which focus on eliminating unnecessary fees and reducing the financial burden on citizens who depend on motorcycles. Despite the removal of the fee, Assistant Secretary Lacanilao emphasized that registration with the LTO remains mandatory for all custom-made top bags and saddlebags. He explained that registration is essential for the agency to inspect roadworthiness, safety, and the sustainability of the motorcycles with added accessories to ensure compliance with the LTO standards. Instead of an official receipt, the LTO will issue a certification following procedures set by the central office as a proof of registration for the custom-made accessories. All previous orders, memorandums, rules and regulations inconsistent with this directive are deemed amended, modified, or repealed accordingly. Assistant Secretary Lacanilao also urged all concerned stakeholders, including regional directors, law enforcement officers, and inspection center heads, to fully implement the policy and assist motorcycle owners in completing the registration process without delay. This is Catherine Landicho for Eurotv News.
A new international partnership is opening more job opportunities for Filipino workers. Pampanga's Mabalacat City has sealed an agreement with a South Korean city to ensure safer and more orderly deployment of seasonal workers abroad. Shai Morales tells us the details.
The local government of Mabalacat City, Pampanga has already deployed several seasonal workers, and the Taybac City government expects an even larger number of seasonal workers to be sent there in the coming years. Mabalacat City, Pampanga Mayor Gel Aquino and the local government of Taybac City, South Korea have signed a Memorandum of Understanding, or MOU, for the deployment of seasonal workers from Mabalacat. According to Aquino, the MOU aims to establish a safe and orderly process for deploying workers to the said city in South Korea. The mayor added that the agreement guarantees workers will receive their full, undeducted salaries from their companies to better support their families.
Na mas ligtas po ngayon, mas maayos at wala nang kaltas na ang buong sweldo po ng mga seasonal workers natin ay buong tatanggapin para po makatulong sa kanila at sa kanilang mga pamilya po dito sa ating syudad ng Mabalacat.
The mayor also emphasized that the Taybac City local government prioritizes a systematic and safe work environment by ensuring that all deployed workers are stationed within designated safe zones. This is Shai Morales reporting for Eurotv News.
The Malabon City government has clarified its role in the controversy involving Tala Cargo Solution following the controversy of suspected unregistered imported cigarettes during a police operation. More from Catherine Landicho.
The Malabon City government clarified that Tala Cargo Solution is a registered business in the city and it is authorized to operate as a container yard in accordance with local business permit and licensing regulations. According to the city government, the registration issued by the local government is limited to granting permission for the facility to operate as container yard. The contents of cargo containers including importation, registration, documentation, and legality of goods are not within the authority of the local government but fall under the jurisdiction of the national government agencies and private operators. Based on the After Operations Report of the Philippine National Police Highway Patrol Group, suspected unregistered imported cigarettes were discovered during a police operations conducted on December 31, 2025. The containers were found inside a privately operated container yard and were not related to any activity, operations, or projects of the Malabon City government. Following the incident, as a part of the regular enforcement of business permit and licensing regulations, the city's business permit and licensing office conducted an inspections of the facility and issued a notice of violation against the Tala Cargo Solution. The city government said that the action was in line with the existing provisions that authorize local governments to act when the privilege to do business is abused, result in disturbances to public order or safety, or when business premises are used for illegal activities. The Malabon City government emphasized that it has no authority over the storage, handling, inspection, or approval of the contents of cargo containers. The seizure investigation and any possible filing of charges are being led by the PNP Highway Patrol Group in coordination with the appropriate national government agencies. As the PNP submits the necessary information to the Office of the Prosecutor in Malabon City Government or Malabon City Government, said it will not continue to monitor the situation and coordinate with the concerned agencies within the scope of its authority. The city government reaffirmed its commitment to transparency, accountability, and cooperation with the authorities, assuring the public that accountability will be determined by through the proper legal process. This is Catherine Landicho for Eurotv News.
Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has pleaded not guilty to drug-related charges in a U.S. federal court days after his arrest sparked international tension and unrest in Caracas. Son Santiago has more.
Surrounded by the United States forces, this is the last scenario seen as Venezuelan's President Nicolas Maduro was escorted to a U.S. courthouse following his capture last Saturday. During his initial appearance on Monday, U.S. time, the 63-year-old pleaded not guilty before a judge in Manhattan Federal Court against all accusations filed against him. He is facing 4 serious charges, especially drug-related ones such as narcoterrorism conspiracy and cocaine importation conspiracy. These allegations, U.S. President Donald Trump said prompted the recent operation. Maduro also told the court that he was taken from his residence in Caracas, describing the operation as a kidnapping. He then went on to repeat his claim that he remains the country's legitimate president. On the other hand, his wife Celia Flores, who was captured and arrested alongside him, also appeared and entered a not guilty plea. According to reports, neither Maduro nor Flores requested bail. Besides this, their legal team said the two needed medical assistance. The U.S. court also allowed them to consult with the Consulate of Venezuela. Their next court hearing is on March 17. Meanwhile, in Caracas, Venezuelan Vice President Delcy Rodriguez formally sworn in as interim president. Prior to this, Rodriguez has already insisted that Maduro remains Venezuela's lawful leader and called on the United States to immediately release both detainees. Contrary to this, Trump has since stated that the United States is now in charge of Venezuela after their operation. Besides these, reports of violent activity were observed over Caracas after their initial appearance. U.S. government, however, said they were not involved. This is Son Santiago for Eurotv News.
2 Filipino athletes who brought pride to the country on the global stage are now leading contenders for the 2025 Athlete of the Year as the Philippine Sports Writer Association prepares for its annual awards night. Kyle Basa has the sports news.
This is for your Philippine Sports News Today. 2 Filipino athletes who emerged their talents and were heard all around the world are tennis star Alex Ayala and Olympic gold medalist gymnast Carlos Yulo are the major contenders for the race of the 2025 Athlete of the Year.
The main objective of the Philippine Sports Writers Association is to give recognition to the national athletes in the previous year. As top contenders of Athletes of the Year, the reason for the award itself is for the athletes that were heard from all around the globe based on their hard-earned efforts representing the country and their talents. Just like Alex Ayala, who rose up to the WTA ranking and claimed her first ever WTA 125 title in Mexico. Also Carlos Yulo, who was consistent in his craft, winning medals in each tournament he's participating in. The two are one of the main contenders for the race of the award, as the whole world felt not just their talents, but also on how they inspire and influence the people. Fellow athletes Miguel Tabuena, Chesca Centeno, and Kayles Sanchez are also contenders of the said race. Other major awards will be given by the PSA for the athletes as well. PSA Awards Night will be held on February 2, 2026.
Stay tuned for more sports news only here in Eurotv News. Once again, I'm Kyle Basa. Back to you, KRIZZA.
Thanks, Kyle Basa. British rock star Central C is set to bring his music to Filipino fans as he officially includes the Philippines in his Can't Rush Greatness Asia World Tour next year. Sam Martos tells us more.
For the very first time, British rap sensation Central C will be visiting the country for his Can't Rush Greatness Asia World Tour 2026. In a social media post by Live Nation PH, they shared Central C concert poster along with the ticket prices. It can be remembered that C became known when her song Doha reached number 2 on the UK single chart in 2022. His concert tickets are available for purchase ranging from 2,750 pesos up to 8,500 pesos, starting January 9 for pre-sale, and general sale on January 10 at 11 in the morning. Meanwhile, Central C's Can't Rush Greatest Asia World Tour 2026 will be held at the Smart Arena Coliseum in Quezon City on March 16, 2026. This is Sam Martos for Eurotv Showbiz News.
And that's the latest news for tonight. You may visit yourtvph.com for more news and information. You can also catch our live broadcast in our social media accounts and via Pinoy Extreme cable channel. Once again, I am KRIZZA Lopez. This is Eurotv News Thread. Stay safe and have a good night, everyone.